Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world, everybody. I'm Tony King, as Tracy has stated. If you know anything about Tracy's shows, she talks about a lot of things that you will not hear anywhere else. And in this time right now, I feel that it's paramount to start showing people the things that we can do to take back our planet. So I know that in the chat, it's a little bit limited as far as what we can do in there. So what I'm going to do is, and I'll let you guys know the times, because I'm pretty sure we can set them up for the times that I'm doing Tracy shows. But I might feel that it's necessary to do some extra shows. So we're going to get a little bit more visual with it. So what I want everybody to do, if you are in the chat, or if you're listening to me on a mobile device, what have you, go to Google or whatever your preferred search engine and type in Twitch, TWITCH. It's right there in the chat. So yeah, so what we're going to do is I want everybody to go to Twitch. And Twitch is a site where people stream mostly video games, but there are other channels like music, and there's a great creative channel that you can find. So I want you guys to look up Fifth Legend, and I'm going to spell that for you. It's F as in Frank, I, F as in Frank, L, E, G, E, N, D. All one word. And the first one that pops up should have a Marvel Comics picture. It's Marvel Zombies, if you guys can actually see it. But I should be the top one. And when you click on it, there should be a video on there that says the Tomorrow Children Alpha, last day of Alpha. You don't have to watch that or anything. Just want you to know that you're at the right place. And if you hit the follow button every time that I get online, you'll be able to get notifications. So yes, Twitch TV Los, awesome. I sure can, Tracy. Matter of fact, I will give you the exact link.
Sorry, everyone. I'm just complaining in the background. I'll put the links up.
No, you're fine, Tracy. I actually put the complete link in the chat room. That's me, guys. So you can click directly to me. So for anybody listening that's not in the chat, go to Twitch TV, look up Fifth Legend, FIF Legend, all one, and I'll be the top one. Hit the follow button so you'll get the notifications. So what we're going to do with Twitch TV is when I do Tracy shows, I'm probably going to do this on a lot of the shows because it's time to step some things up. I've got some great material that I want to share with you guys. A couple of books that I have. 9 Ether Re-engineering. Now I'm going to type that into the chat. And 9 Ether Re-engineering is going to get deep into the sciences, the ancient sciences, so to speak. Not so ancient, but our ancestral knowledge that we should be using now. Because I see too many people sick. I see too many people worry about working for a corporate environment, working a job, trying to get somebody else rich, trying to make ends meet. I see a lot of disconnection. So people here, everybody here, for the most part, except for, the alphabet guys. You know who you are. We're connected. This is a family. So we are going to start doing things as a family. We're going to start engaging a lot more. Now, 9 ether re-engineering. Let's talk about ether and the re, or the ray. Ether is an acronym for electricity, thermodynamics, hydrodynamics, electromagnetic radiation, and resonant energy. So you have the ether and the ray, or the re. Now, let's talk about this. In physics, coherent radiation is defined as the orderly emission of energy from a source. Radiation is considered coherent when it does not diverge and the frequency phase difference is constant. Coherent radiation enables the transmission of frequencies with low levels of loss. The symbol above is a modification of the warning symbol for coherent energy. And that symbol is a triangle with what looks like a sun in the middle of that triangle. This book deals with the concept of ether, or aether, which is an ancient concept whose information has been somewhat lost in transmission from the past to the present, but has practical implications and applications in modern theology, theory, and technology. Thus, this book is designed to coherently transmit quintessential information about the many applications of ether or aether. Therefore, African Creation Energy, which is their book, modified version of the coherent radiation warning symbol appears here as a symbol to signify the coherent, harmonious, and orderly etheric frequencies that are emitted within these pages and absorbed by the reader if the etheric information which is tested, experienced, and applied. So, this book has some really good experiments that we're going to do. And just to give you an idea, and we're going to get to the experiments next week. I just want to get everybody up to gear, get everybody the information out, and then we're going to start playing with some stuff. So one experiment we can do is calculate the antimatter emitted from an African yam, which has a potassium of 40. Another experiment we can do is create a staff of ptah to convert direct current to alternating current. Now, when we start getting into some of these experiments, I'm going to warn you guys that we're going to do this with the utmost care, and we're going to make sure we're going to be safe. Because some of these things, we're talking about working with energy and controlling energy, manipulating energy, things of that nature. So, this is not to be taken lightly. If any of you guys are familiar with Kesh technology, it's the same concept. We're also going to create a Shu Ankh. We're going to separate water into hydrogen and oxygen via electrolysis. We're also going to create naphtha biodiesel fuel. We're going to create a black light candle. we're going to create a Ankh wireless energy transfer resonant transformer. So we're going to be busy as much time as Tracy allots me. So let's get started. It's time to get our studies. Since time immemorial, humanity has acknowledged the existence of a fundamental and quintessential element and energy that permeates the totality of nature. While the names, labels, stories, details, and explanations regarding this quintessential substance has changed over time, the concept has been present and prevalent in a variety of different cultural expressions, philosophies, theologies, ideologies, religions, theories, and sciences throughout history. In the English language, this quintessential substance is called ether, ether, which comes from the Greek word aether, meaning pure air or clear sky. We're not going to just jump into the experiments. We're going to learn this properly, the information. So you guys can do the experiments if you want. I'm just going to use Twitch TV so you guys can visually see, because we're going to be doing a lot of things. We're going to be talking about chaos magic. We're going to be talking about supreme mathematics. We're going to be talking about, right now, the ether re-engineering. So we're going to be covering a lot of information, and while we're covering it, I know it's going to be overwhelming to some, maybe most. That's why we're going to do Twitch TV, so you guys can follow along and visually see what I'm doing, so that we can do this together. And it has a chat in there, so we can, you guys can engage me in here or in the Trace Elements radio chat as well. And speaking, let me just take a moment real quick, because speaking of Tracy does a lot, you guys. So she's not feeling too well. So if you guys could donate anything, it could be $1, it could be $5, whatever is in your budget. If you guys could donate anything to her to help her get the medicines and the treatments that she needs, she would greatly appreciate it. I'm not asking for money for myself. I just want to see Tracy get better, because she's an awesome person. And she still has time, so. You're fine, Trace. See, now Tracy can
I'm sorry, guys. This is why I'm not doing live shows. I'm being inappropriate in my own chat room.
and see, you can do all the inappropriateness you want and not have to worry about talking about it physically. Well,
this is why I have friends, and I so appreciate you, and everybody supports me, because without you guys, I just couldn't. You cannot stop, drop, and open up shop alone. Go ahead, my brother.
And that's the whole point of us connecting. We have to work together as a family. We have to work together as a community. Not one person can change the planet by themselves. It takes a group of people. That one person can get that in motion, get that spark going, but that spark can only go so far. So we are going to connect, because there's some funky things going on in the world, and we'll get to that. But we have to get the knowledge first. We have to get to the place where we can work together, we can be independent of this control system that is set up to enslave us. I know I briefly talked about chaos magic. The things that we have been instilled into us, into our consciousness, into the fiber of our being, to fear, that is what is allowing them to control us. Is not only the fact that we fear the things that they tell us to fear, it's the fact that the things that they use that we should fear, like chaos magic, can be used to benefit people. So we're going to get into sigils, and this is why we're going to get on Twitch, and we're going to get visual with it. Because we're going to take back this planet. And me and Tracy can't do it alone. And Two Dog, he's doing his thing. You know, let's give congratulations to Chief Charles Two Dog, because we're gonna get him in here too on the show, because he has some amazing things to share. You know, about some changes going on with him, positive changes. I don't want to scare you guys, but there's some things going on with Chief Charles Two Dog. Man, brother, he is going to be chief of Turtle Island. So I'm so looking forward to that. We are reclaiming our planet, and he is a very humble brother. So let's give him his due thanks. So some things are coming along to reclaim this planet, to reclaim this mother. And you know, some things that I'm gonna get back into the ether re-engineering, but I just want to take this time to help us connect and to see some things from different perspectives, because there's 7 billion people on this sphere, on this planet. Sphere. It used to be a sphere. Yeah, right now I don't think so much. But we've talked about flat Earth theory and this planet being a larger planet. So yes, the planet was round. It was a sphere at one time. Is it now? Not so sure. You know, we're at the whims of other people telling us how things are. And this is why I'm going to teach you guys some things so that we can know what's real and what's not. So, some things I want to do. Let's connect for a second. Let's talk about some things. And I'm not gonna spend too much time talking about it. It's just some things that bother me. The Ohio incident at the zoo. I'm pretty sure you people have heard about it already. In case you haven't, we're talking about the gorilla, the baby who fell into the pit, the 4-year-old whose mother looked away for a moment, and the child fell into the pit. I'm not going to get into the parental thing, because I wasn't there, and if I had a 4-year-old at a zoo, I just know that would not have happened. But we're not going to get into that. But the fact is, when I first read this article, The first article I read about it was this gorilla attacked the child, and it didn't say anything about the gorilla being put down. It just said that the child was attacked and that it was okay. The next article that I saw was this gorilla, and of course, you can do a lot when you take a picture out of context. Sorry, so these kind of things they upset me a bit because when you turn to the internet, it's always and when I say this, you'll know what I'm talking about. You look at those YouTube comments, and you always get the most trollish, ignorant people out there to say the most outlandish things that they could possibly come up with. And it's just cosmic debris. That's all it is. But what I'm more focused on are the people that really felt that this gorilla attacked this child. Because there are people out there, and there's a petition out there. I'm not exactly sure what exactly the petition says, but it's a petition in favor of the gorilla. I don't know if it's to sue the zoo or what, but I try not to focus on that stuff too much because it gets me emotional. When I see any life, hold on, let me rephrase that, because we do have some life on this planet in our third dimension, this plane of existence, and on higher dimensions that are so vile that there is no love. Not to protect yourself, you can use love, because we're talking about an energy and a frequency that it cannot handle. But that's something totally different when you're talking about actually loving something on a physical level. Because you love on multiple levels: emotional, spiritual. But when you love on just a physical level, getting into, the old gods, things like that. Excuse me. So anyway, back to the gorilla thing, because I can sometimes bounce around, my mind goes so many places, and so much I want to share with you guys. So you'll have to forgive me for bouncing around a bit. But back to the gorilla thing. I feel like we, as a people, as a society, are so disconnected that we don't feel the true plight of what's going on our planet until it affects us directly. We need to get away from when it affects us directly, and we need to just nip that before it gets to that point. We need to connect to prevent that. And that is going to be my mission. Why I do these shows is to get us connected to get us where we were. And that's going to take some work. It's going to take a lot of work. So I hope you guys are with me on this journey. But if you guys are with me, we'll do this together. And you know what? Working together will be so much easier because you have that support from other people. we have that community. And that's what we need. We need stronger communities. We need to be growing our own food. There's no reason why we shouldn't be building pyramids. There's no reason why we shouldn't be harnessing the energy of this planet, of our mother, because she'll give us our energy. She'll give her energy to us if we connect to her. She wants us to connect. She doesn't want to shake us off like fleas, but she will. She has. Because we can't get right. So, we're going to get right. And I know the things that I talk about from henceforth will be profound. It will be a lot of new information for a lot of people. But I believe in you. I believe in everybody listening who wants to genuinely better themselves, to empower themselves, to connect with one another, because that is God. We all have what they call God. We are God body. What does that mean? Let's think about it like this. Okay, now, for most, we've been taught that God is everywhere and in everything all at once. That means throughout time, throughout space, throughout dimensions. That energy, that is us. That is the spirit. The spirit is what we're going to connect with. So, to connect with each other, we have to connect with ourselves first. And we're going to connect with ourselves. And it's going to be a little bit more advanced. This is going to be boot camp, guys. Just so you know. So, don't be scared. Don't be scared. You're going to learn today. But, we'll do this together. I'm going to motivate you guys. The ones who want to learn, because I can feel you. I can feel the pain. I can feel the disdain for this life that has been set upon us. I can feel like this inner torment. I can feel this yearn for more, to do more, to be more. Because I have that. Tired of working to get somebody else rich. That's why I'm starting to focus on my businesses. And that's what we need to do. Everybody here has a talent. Everybody here has something that they can contribute as a community. And when we come together and start connecting and start working together as a community, then this facade that they have set up so that they can dumb us down and steal our energy will fall apart. And see, that's why they want to leave the planet. They've already started messing this stuff up. They've already mucked it up so much with the radiation and the tears in the ozone layer. And it's not too late. I'll put it like this. Working as a natural health consultant, working with naturopathic remedies and medicine, I have come across some people who were so sick they didn't know what to do with themselves. I mean, so sick that they could barely get out of bed, almost dying. That's why I refuse to give up in Tracy, because Tracy has not given up. That's how awesome she is. That's how strong her spirit is. Let that be a testament that she is still getting up, doing a damn thing with MS. My grandmother has MS, and I love my grandmother with everything that I have, but she has pretty much given up. She has had, I believe, 3 surgeries on her brain to remove tumors. My grandmother was the first female black state trooper in the state of Indiana. My grandmother, when I remember her, at her prime, before she got sick, she was strong. My grandmother kicked ass. And you'll have to pardon my Swahili, my A double swirly snakes. But my grandmother was amazing. My grandmother worked for the state police and worked for 2 banks part-time before her 3rd surgery. That 3rd surgery she had affected her mobility, and I feel like a part of her after that surgery just never was the same. And I've tried a lot. My family has tried quite a bit to help her, and it's almost to the point where, and I see this symptom everywhere. Not with everyone. I just see it everywhere, on every corner of this sphere that has people. They want this one fix, cure all. Not to say that doesn't exist. Sorry. But it's not existing in any corporation run country. If it does exist, it's out there in nature. Because nature, and see, this is why we have to see the connection. We've heard that everything that ails man, there is a cure for in nature. And and when I say they, I mean those who would control us, have been adamant about destroying everything that they can get their hands on that can benefit us. And they either destroy it or they mutate it. They transmute it into something else. Because all the drugs out there on the market, your Viagra, your Lipitor, your Neurontin, your Flexerol, your Vicodin, Solol, there is an ingredient in every one of those drugs that comes from something out in nature. They put it into that pill form and they add all those chemicals to it. And we're going to talk about the changes that they've been trying to do with people, because I know Tracy has talked about that, and I'm going to share some things with you guys as well. Like I said, have a lot to share with you guys, so just bear with me. Sorry, brain fart. My brain just went out in 30 directions. You know, it'd be a lot easier if we could do these shows telepathically. You know, if we could just do like a group telepathic transmission. Can you guys connect with me like that? Can we stop using Wi-Fi and use our internal Wi-Fi? Because you guys know that our hair is an extension of our nervous system. That's how we can sense our environment. So the longer your hair, the more energy you can store in said hair, the more you can sense in your environment. That's why you always see wizards. And if you look at Native American pictures, they always have long hair. You look at certain Asian cultures, they have that long lock of hair. They might shave their head, but they always have that long lock of hair. Now, I'm not saying that you have to grow your hair out, but if you can, that would be great. Because when you start to change certain aspects about ourselves, just something simple as growing your hair, you start to notice little minute differences if you can connect with yourself. So we can do, if you guys want, we can do some group meditations, and when I get some materials, I would love to do some arts and crafts. And what I mean by that is making some things that we can set up, like Orgonite. Not that we need to, but it's a tool, just like everything else that we use. Like I mentioned in re-engineering, you know, we can make a patah staff. You know, we can change direct current to alternating current. That is a tool. My goal is to, we're going to take it step by step, because I can't rush you guys that much. This is boot camp. Don't get it twisted. This is boot camp. But we still have to baby step it a little bit, but not too much. I put it like this. We're not going to crawl. We're going to start walking first. So we're going to skip crawling, because we've been on our bellies long enough. And we're going to start walking. And we're going to start coming together. We're going to start connecting with people. And you don't have to be in the same space to connect with people. Look at Tracy. Tracy's all the way in Canada. I'm here all the way down in Texas. And me and Tracy have a very strong connection. That is one of my best friends in this world, I consider. I don't use best friend too often. I have a few best friends. And I mean those friends that if I need something, if I need something, I could depend on them. Whatever that may be. If it's in their power. And vice versa. There is no reason why everybody can't be your best friend. Well, you're always going to have those ones, those rotten eggs, those errands, those, those ones that will fight tooth and nail for whatever reason, for whatever plays them. And, we can call it balance in the universe, the whole duality, good and evil. There's always that duality. You got black and white. You got Crips and Bloods, red and blue. That's just to disconnect us. That's to keep us from connecting with ourselves. You have two hemispheres in your brain. Okay. Your right brain does this. Your left brain does that. I don't buy into that. I feel like if you buy into that, then yes, that may be true. But see, scientists have told us that, they told us a number of things, but they've told us that we breathe air, we breathe oxygen. The energy, 70% of the energy that you get when you eat is not from physically what you've eaten, it's the energy of what you've eaten. That is how we feed. That is what we're feeding on. That vital force. Because before all this, and this is going back. This is before Kemet. We didn't have. Anytime you see people eating, that is when we've lost our way. Because we don't need to eat. We don't need a digestive tract. You don't need a digestive tract to digest vital force, mana, prana, energy, whatever you call it. Now, I'm sure everybody here is not new to trace elements. I'm pretty sure a lot of people remember when it was Turtle Island News before that whole funky thing. But you know what? Tracy has adapted, and you know what? She's going to keep going. So it's Trace Elements now, which is still awesome. I love that name, by the way. But
thank you, Tony.
Oh, anytime. Good. Somebody's listening.
See, yeah, you're being listened to. People are enjoying it. Don't worry. I'm here.
I just want to make sure I'm not talking to myself.
Nope.
Like, I'm connected with people. Sorry, I had to get that.
You absolutely are, and
I see the chat. I'm just messing with you guys. I got to give you guys a hard time. Gotta make sure you're listening, guys.
No, I was snoring.
I thought I saw a little snot bubble coming off animated.
You're doing great. I'm thinking, see, he's doing too good, and people are going to think, yeah, Tracy sucked all this time.
Yeah, all right. Come on, Tracy.
Like a
okay,
Hoover.
let me say this. And I know I have a lot of information.
It's really
get
good.
out.
It's really good. You're doing great. I'm loving
thanks,
it.
everybody. I want to say this. I really appreciate all the love that I've received while doing these shows. I remember the first show I did with Dave Carso. Amazing guy. I miss him so much. Rest his soul. But I was so scared because I was, and I was still doing my research, and I was talking to Dave about Billy Meyer, and he was like, I'm not familiar with him. Why don't you come on and do a show? And I'm like, okay, that would be amazing. And I was so nervous because I have never been very good with the whole standing in front of a group of people giving a lecture or a report. We've all done that in school, especially in the English class, where you've had to get in front of the class and had to read something. I'm like, oh man, I hope they like it. Like, what if I messed up or something? But so let me tell you, I think I had about a week to prepare. Now, I had already done research, but I have never done a 2-hour show. Now, the first time I did it with Dave, I had so many notes, and I was just reading from my notes because I had so much information I wanted to get out that I didn't even get to a quarter of my notes, let alone a tenth of the material that I had come across. And it was because in the 2-hour period, it goes by so quickly. And after that, it kind of loosened me up. And because I looked at it as just talking with you guys. We're just fellowshipping, shucking and jiving sometimes, kicking the boo-boo, as the kids say, But I just talk with you guys, like how I talk with some of my friends, because I have me and Tracy and Charles and Chief Charles Two Dog. We've had some very deep conversations where we have completely lost time. We've talked for 6-8 hours straight after doing a 2-hour show, and that has been amazing. The fact that I've met so many people and have gotten so much love. Yeah, Dave was my first interview. He was your first interview too? That's awesome too, dog. But the love that I get from you guys is amazing. And it has been a very humbling experience, because for the longest, before I found Wolf Spirit Radio, that was the first. Excuse me. Before I found Wolf Spirit Radio, I was pretty much listening to Coast to Coast, George Norrie, and sometimes Art Bell. Back when Art Bell was on there a lot more, which great shows, definitely got me into the right direction. But when I found Dave and Tracy, we got a break. But yeah, when I found them, that was it. But when we come back, I'll go into more.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Trace Elements Radio, live today with Tony King.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you, Tracy.
Welcome.
Now, you can return to your inappropriateness back in the chat. Okay, so what I was saying before the break was when I found Dave and Tracy, it was like instant connection. Like, Dave was awesome. Like, Dave would always cut up, and we would always talk about like the shows that we watch, like Family Guy, and it tripped me out when Dave told me that he watched anime like Ghost in the Shell and stuff. He was like, "Hey, you watch Adult Swim?" I'm like, what? Get out of here, Dave! What do you know about that? He's like, "Oh yeah, I love that stuff." Like, oh wow. And then my first show with Tracy, that was like the most relaxed show, because that was my second show. But by that time, like, I had, been talking with him, and Tracy was like, we're just gonna talk, just do it like you're talking. So, it's been an amazing experience, meeting them, meeting everybody. and the love that I've got. She's told me that you guys want me to do my own show, and I cannot begin to express how much that means to me. So that's why this chance that I've been given to do Tracy shows, we are going to do some amazing things. We're going to talk about a lot of things, and we'll fellowship, and like I said, we'll shuck and jive a little bit. So we're going to have some fun. So back to connecting. Oh, I know what I was going to talk about. My screen name, because that is basically what I am doing now, and what Tracy has been doing. And for anybody who doesn't know, who's unfamiliar or doesn't remember me, because it has been a while since I've been in the chat, but my screen name in the Trace Elements chat is Golden Brahmastra. And for anybody who's familiar with the Hindu texts, the Vedas, a Brahmastra is a weapon that can kill a god. And I chose that name back in 2010 or so, because at that time I knew that what I was being told in religion was not completely accurate. And Tracy has done a great job of tearing down those walls and killing gods. Tracy is an awesome god killer. That's how I learned how to kill gods, is from Tracy. So I want to continue that tradition of killing gods, of smiting them, so to speak. And let me explain, because I don't hate anybody. I don't knock anybody for finding spirituality through religion. I think that's awesome. It's definitely a great stepping stone to get to where you need to be. But as I remember, and I was taught, and there's actually even a Wu-Tang song. I want to say it's specifically GZA. I want to say it was on his Liquid Swords album. Now I'm starting to get hip-hop nerd, so bear with me. But if you guys are unfamiliar with Wu-Tang or GZA, awesome music. I don't know where you've been for the past couple of decades, because these brothers are profound. But GZA had a song. I want to say it's like the last track on Liquid Swords, and it's called Bible. And the acronym for Bible is Basic Instructions Before Leaving Earth. And I was taught that as a kid. Excuse me. My great grandmother, who passed away back in 2004, amazing spirit. She was by far, and I know we all look up to certain people in our family, and they can never do any wrong, but this is not an exaggeration. As to my knowledge, my great grandmother spent majority of her life, from child to death, faithfully in the church, going every day. She would, and I actually went with her a couple of times. She would go volunteer it was a local kind of Goodwill type of place, Salvation Army, Excuse me. I don't remember if it was actually a Salvation Army. I just know it had a different setup from any Salvation Army or Goodwill that I've ever seen. But she was instilling those values at a young age, and even though I wasn't seeing it, as I got older, I started to see it for what it was. My grandmother knew things about the Bible that nobody else talked about, that was not even in our Bible, but I later found out was in the Ethiopian Bible. So where she got that from, because my great grandmother was a Blackfoot Native American, Blackfoot Indian, whatever you want to call us. She was Blackfoot. And where she got that knowledge from, I could not tell you, because I know nothing of her parents directly. I know their names because I've done my genealogy tree, and we're going to talk. We're going to talk about that. I was able to trace back on my dad's side back to, I think as far as I could go was Ponce de Leon, and on my mother's side it's the Ivory Coast of Africa. We're going to talk about that, the DNA. So just another topic to bring up, because there's a lot about that when you're talking about doing those DNA tests and things of that nature that are highly inaccurate. For one, okay, so you can go to any number of DNA testing facilities that do these, that you can get these tests done. Go to different ones and you will guarantee get different results from each one, and it's because of the way that they do it. They do it in such an asinine way. It's so limited. I don't know if it's on purpose or what, but it's not accurate. So if anybody has done like a DNA test, trace back your genealogy, it's only going to be so accurate. And I'll briefly explain why. But it's going to take a show alone. Excuse me. It's going to take a show alone to talk about DNA, because so much I want to share with you guys. Like I said, this is boot camp, so we're going to be going through some stuff now.
It's really cool.
I know Tracy. What'd you say, Tracy?
Oh, I'm sorry for interrupting. It's a really good idea, because if you don't know your roots, it's really hard to say who you are now.
Exactly. And
this is our real story. Not his story or her story, but the story.
Exactly.
Of us. And, you're talking about the earth, the shape of the earth. We all know we have hills and valleys here, so it would look more like a meteor. And the change, it may have been an actual sphere at one time, but we are now on that 23.5 degree tilt. This is why we have too many people with right hands. This is why the number of men and women are so off the charts. It's why there's the imbalance. It could be that. It could be our thoughts actually causing all the nonsense going on, because it's, I think, obvious to most people listening that this planet is not right, and most people are not right, and most animals are not right. We don't know how to treat them. When we put a majestic animal like the gorilla in a cage so we can watch it, that's slavery. So, we can't free ourselves if we do not free our brothers and sisters. So, the unity, like you're saying, this is what's important right now. So I'm glad you're talking about these things. I pretty much said, please, Tony, just help me. Just do it. So I knew you would. I had no doubt.
If you gave me the chance, I told you I was going to do the damn thing.
Yeah, I had no doubt, and can't wait to hear you and Two Dog again on air. And as soon as I'm better, Two Dog's coming back on, and we'll be doing his show, and Tony will continue doing a show or two, and then him and I may do something as well. We're thinking of bringing back the Tourette show, because every so often I need to swear uncontrollably.
Sometimes you just got to get those words out, because
I need to.
It's a spell. You got to break that spell. And sometimes the best way to break the spell is just to get the spell out.
I need to grab it, throw it against the wall, and just let it go.
And Tracy, I love you so much. It's funny how it's amazing, but it's amazing, but at the same time, it does not surprise me, because there are times where me and Tracy will be researching the same exact thing at the same exact time without even talking to each other prior. You know, we never really talk about like what we're going to research. We talk about what we have researched.
It's true. You know, when we present each other data, most times, I mean 9 times out of 10, we're looking at the exact same thing, maybe from, different angles, but it's the same thing we're looking at almost all the time. Oh, and we got a message that need to say Trace Elements Radio, because if you do a search on Trace Elements Radio together, it's the number 1 on Google.
Yeah,
I'm number 1 on Google.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's how I found. I didn't realize you didn't know that. That is amazing.
I didn't know that.
Trace Elements number 1. See, we don't need Turtle Island anymore. You got Trace Elements.
Those bitches, anyway.
And what can they say? What can Trace Elements be taken away? How can you take that away?
Yeah, that's obviously me.
Yeah.
So,
like, come on now.
That's right. You know where we're going.
But yes, you said unity, and that was like one of the key words that resonated with me when you asked me to do the shows. I was like, okay, what is my first one? What am I going to talk about first? Because people, I don't want to backtrack and talk about like, who I am. People by this time have kind of familiarized themselves with me a bit, because I've been on quite a few of your shows, so I didn't want to kind of like redo like another show in a way. I wanted to, because I have so much information, and
I can't wait to see the images too on this Twitch TV thing. That's an awesome idea. I may even use that too, because I realize
please do.
A lot of the stuff that I talk about would be easier if I put the pictures up right as I was speaking.
And see, if you have a webcam, if you have a webcam on your laptop, you're good to go. Yeah, Twitch is.
Then I'm gonna have to brush my hair. It's gonna be a whole thing.
Now, see, you can do straight audio, or you can do.
Yeah, I wanted to do that. We've wanted to do that for a while, and so they can connect. People want to connect. They want to see you.
Yeah. So.
And they're gonna understand if my hair's not brushed. People are actually really good with me, so they're going to understand.
You know what, guys? You know what, to use Twitch, it's free, but you might have to make an account just so you can follow somebody. I forgot to mention that.
Please make an account, because I can't wait to see what you're going to do, and it's awesome.
I already have my account made, but Lowell said yes to Twitch, just got to find a way into it yet. And I don't know if she was trying to...
because she's in Europe.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that to follow somebody, you have to make an account. Yeah, you don't have to put a lot of like personal information. You
detail. Can just there's a little hearty symbol on the bottom left-hand side that says follow. So you just click that.
Yeah, you just click the follow button, and once
You
you
can sign up.
have an account, it's basically just like put in an email, just so you can get the like notifications to your email.
Yeah.
That kind of information. That's the same kind of information that you would put when you're making an email account.
I saw there's some games on there.
Oh, every game is on there, and when I say every game, I see retro games. I see people playing like the first Final Fantasy, which was Mystic Quest. I see people playing like old Nintendo games, Galarians. I'm getting a little bit nerdy now.
That's okay. Yeah, this is one of the reasons why. Who did I choose?
Yeah,
Because we
you know
talk
what you're
about this
doing.
stuff off air, and I am so kicking your ass in several of these games. I
Oh,
look forward to that as well.
we can definitely take it there
Let's
because
go.
if you guys and don't if it, okay, I'm gonna say this. I made the Twitch account originally to broadcast when I play video games. Just to basically, it was for like alphas and betas when they first come out, so people can get an idea of what that game looks like. And so, I actually found out about Twitch when I was looking up a game that I didn't know if I wanted it or not. So I was looking up play for it, and I found Twitch, and you can watch people play the games, so you can tell if you want to play it or not. And that's what I was using Twitch for. But then I found that there's these other great channels, like people who do music. They have channels for people who want to learn computer programming, people who want to watch people design the games. People, and their creative channel is just about everything that you can possibly think of. I've seen people do arts and crafts like jewelry. I've seen people showcase their artwork, paintings,
That is super
drawings.
cool. I should
It
put
is
up some
so
of my
cool.
jewelry there. I've got a new piece. I'm keeping it though.
And see, and when I thought about the direction to taking this show, I was thinking of, wow, Twitch. When I found out about the creative channel, and I recently just found out about that, and I was like, yeah, this is it. This is how I want to do these shows, because of so much information that I have, that just to read it, just to share it, just doesn't do it justice. Like,
It's really, it's really a great idea, because when I come back, I have so many things I've been holding off on that I've pretty much completed. I want to talk about the rainbow and the marriages and
mm,
how we were and how we are, and Tiamat's monsters, who I am proud to say I'm definitely one of those monsters.
yeah, and Tracy,
I
I wasn't. You know what? This is boot camp, so you guys might as well know that I'm preparing you guys to be God killers, because there's some things on this planet that cannot be fought conventionally.
It's true, and we've been lied to about how ancient the past is. To be honest, for our
Not that
brothers
ancient.
and sisters listening from Europe, I can tell you, I think Tiamat is actually a Boudica, one of the warrior queens of
Hmm.
ancient Brittany. I think the story that we're really listening to is what happened when the Caesars from Rome took over Brittany and enslaved your people and beat them and tortured them. Yes, that's the word. I think it could be two things. Like Tony has spoken of, it could be the change in timeline and a new incarnation of the old queen. The Red Queen, the good side of the Red Queen, who is the mother, who we've had images of all over the world. who her legs are usually either snake or reptilian. They're scaled one way or the other. The top part is normally human. And I saw this image of this woman, Boudica, I'm probably saying it wrong, who actually wore serpent leggings with her long red hair. So it's interesting how when times come, because we've always been told that Europe was all about this. They were all about the conquer. They were not. They're about keeping their own people who were tribal, who were native, who were doing their own thing, worshipping the goddess for the most part, and perfectly fine with that. But like I've told you guys, it's the ancient battle. The battle between Kemet and Sumeria, or Chaldea. The ancient battle is they wanted to civilize us, and we said, we don't want that.
We didn't need that.
We didn't need that, and every single big battle that we've had on this planet has been about that. Someone has wanted to civilize us. And civilization...
Civilizing people is programming when you think about it on every level, because you're conforming people to be a certain way, conduct themselves a certain way. That's programming.
That's programming. If you do it this way, all of a sudden you'll be fine. And then they find out what your religion is, who you pray to, especially if it involves trees or the water. And then they say, but we have Mary for you. We have Christmas. There's a friggin' tree.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same. And at first, our elders always say, no, it's not. And then they kill those elders. And then they take the kids to school and they come back and go, no, it's so close. It's not what we believe in. Not our people. I'm talking to everyone. I don't care what little shade your skin is. Our people knew better. And we knew better repeatedly. We've always been taken down by the exact same way. We think right now, and it's something you and I haven't spoke of, Tony, that it's the wars that are the most horrific thing happening on the planet. But the most horrific thing is coke. Not the cocaine, but the pop. The pop is killing more people. I mean, since 2010
it's the
and
same
2015
as battery acid.
It's made us fat. You know, on this planet, for the longest time, there were more people starving than there were obese. Obesity, actually, there is no case of obesity in China until the last 3 years.
Okay, right there, Tracy. Now, I know how you think. You know how I think. When it comes to these things, you said obesity. Now, you can spell a word a different way.
But you know how it sounds, and you just said what it sounds. It's the beast.
Now, what is obesity trying to do? You are turning people into something else.
The beast.
They are making homunculi. Now,
yes, they are making more Gollum.
Let me share this, because
please go on. Yeah, you're onto a thing. That's awesome. Go on.
I love that you're in here, because I love when we can.
You give me strength.
I'm glad, because you have given me like so much like determination to just, because I'm gonna tell you, before I found you, I felt so alone with all this knowledge, not having anybody to share it with. Didn't know what to do with it, and you showed me how to channel that. And I can't even begin to tell you how amazing that's been. You've given me like so many new friends to talk to about this that I didn't have before. So, and I'm talking about all you guys. You guys are all my friends. Everybody out there listening with their hearts. You know who you are. And I said hearts for a reason. Because your heart and your mind, your heart, your physical heart and your physical brain are made of the exact same substance. So, yes, you do think with your heart, and you do feel with your heart, as well as your brain. So, but that's not what I was going to say. The thing that I wanted to talk about, just to bring up, and I haven't forgot about talking about the blood thing. I'm gonna get to that in a second, but and that's going to tie into this as well. But the obesity, you're turning. We're talking about homunculi. We're talking about chimera. Now, there are two different types of chimera. There are the unnatural kind, and then there are the natural. Let me explain. Let me explain some of that. The unnatural kind is what they do when they feed us this processed GMO, chemical ridden everything that we've come in contact with, our clothes, our food, everything. The pollutants that they put in our air is changing us on a physical level. That is what I mean by an unnatural chimera. Now, the natural kind are, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring all this together because I see, and this is why it's imperative that we connect everything together, not just ourselves, but connect everything. And what I mean by everything is, think about healing. You have laying of hands, you have Reiki, you have all these different modalities, these different avenues that you can use to heal people, but they're separate. They all have a different principle. Why not combine all of them to make to make a more complete system? Now, when you combine the healing techniques from around the world, all the meditative, all the chakra balancing, the Kuji-in, the Reiki, all of that, you combine the martial arts. And what I mean by combining the martial arts, you have Jeet Kune Do, you have Wing Chun, you have karate, you have judo, you have all these different disciplines of martial arts, ways of channeling your chi, your ki, your inner energy, that energy that emits from your spirit, that is your spirit, that is a physical emanation of your spirit, also known as your aura or torsion field. That's all connected. Excuse me. So, back in the days, not so ancient, you hear these stories. The Koga and the Iga clans. If anybody is unfamiliar with that, I can throw some little nerdy material out there. There are some great series. There's a great anime series called Basilisk. Basilisk is about And these are real events that happen. So when you watch this, you're going to be like, okay, so these people were real. Yeah, they were real. They really had these abilities. They may have been slightly exaggerated, but we're talking about people who had, who exercise their full faculties. They didn't have Wi-Fi to dumb them down. They didn't have all this heavy programming and all this. They were the ones who were connected. So, Basilisk and the movie Shinobi, recent movie. And I'm pretty sure you can find these on some kind of free site like YouTube, or there's a number of free anime sites. If you just type in like a free anime site, I'm sure you can find this. But if you're willing to look into it, this will give you an idea of what we were and what we are capable of. Now, these two clans, and this was the programming they dealt with. These two clans were warring. They both had immense powers, supernatural powers, what we would call them, ninjutsu. Now, when you start dealing with Kujin, you start dealing with these chakras. They're all connected. So I'm bringing it together. When you start dealing with balancing yourself, finding yourself, connecting with yourself, these are the abilities, these are the feats that you can perform. This is how it was in not so ancient days. So these two clans, the Koga and the Iga clans, both had immense power. They had a period of time that they had set, that they had agreed upon. It was a treaty, a peace treaty between the two. But them being out in the mountains, secluded, these two villages, secluded in the mountains, allowed them to hone their skills to the point that the shogun at the time feared them. And so what he had them do was, first he had to test their abilities. So he had one from each appear and fight, not to the death, just to display their abilities. That was enough for him to get them to kill themselves. And the way he did it was he dissolved their treaty and told them to pick their 10 best fighters, and they had to kill until there was only one, and that one was the village that would be saved, and that other village would be destroyed. And it's where Shakespeare gets the whole Romeo and Juliet story, because the grandson and the granddaughter, one from each clan, were in love with each other, just as the grandfather and the grandmother of each clan were in love with each other, but it was one of those forbidden kind of loves. So you see where that Romeo and Juliet aspect comes from. Great story. True, historically. So the reason I brought that up, just to get a little nerdy with y'all, but the other reason I brought that up was because if you check these series out, if you check the movie or the Basilisk series out, you'll get an idea of what we're capable of. This is what I am working towards, not just for myself, but for us. This is how we're going to take back our planet. We, and whoever this resonates with, you'll know. There will be those, if not all, Hopefully, we all get to this point. But when it talks about in the Bible, I believe in Ezekiel, when it talks about we don't battle on a physical plane. We battle principalities, powers, things of that nature. That is what we need to be fighting. We can totally do that, and we're going to get to that point. So, hey Trace, are you there?
I'm here. It's Ephesians. Our struggle.
Was it Ephesians? Okay.
I think it's Ephesians. Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the powers of this world's darkness, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms.
Couldn't have said it better.
that was a good one.
Yeah, I that one resonated with me when I read the Bible.
Me too.
That was one of the lines that resonated with one of the verses that resonated with me the most. And I've had some visions about a war to come. And the war that I had a vision about is, like I said, conventional weapons. Not gonna do it. So, gotta get ourselves ready. Is there any way we can take like a quick like 30-second break or anything? Play some music for a second.
Yes, we can. You take your break. I'll hang here until you come back, and I'll read the whole thing. Okay. So this is about the armor. Armor is also from love. This is putting on the armor of God. So at 11 it says, put on the armor of God, so you can make your stand against the devil's scheme. Then the part I read, for your struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, against authorities, against the powers of this world's darkness, and against the spiritual forces of evil in heavenly realms. And the 13th chapter, therefore take up the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes you will be able to stand your ground and have done everything to stand. It says prepare yourself. It's one of those interesting little pieces that made it into the Bible that I'm like, I don't know how this got in here. But it was telling you what you are, what you need to do, and how it needs to come from within. It wasn't a physical armor. These are stories of a much deeper level, and somebody who wrote them tried to put a little bit of hope in each one of the stories. That we are far more and far stronger than we've been given what's the word? Let known. So even when I talked about the obesity epidemic, this is obese city. A city is a Sita. This is a source of power, and this is why it's happened in a really short time around this world, and it usually starts with Coke. Coke is actually a very old word, once again, because they use the words of God always. When something is really dark and nasty, they find an ancient word. So there was a god called Coke. Had nothing to do with cocaine. Didn't have to grow from the opium. It had to do with sugar and fat, which is the one, well, it is a combined element towards the negative side, because this is a marriage. Because fat and sugar don't grow together. Not naturally. It is not a thing that happens. Only in breast milk, and it is distilled, it becomes an element. It is different with that. But these two things, the way they do it, fat and sugar, changes us. Changes us in a way we get fat on our bellies, which covers our heat chakra, basically, and it makes us sick. So this is a beast. Welcome back, Tony.
Thank you. This is alchemy.
This is alchemy.
This is not the form of alchemy that comes from Kemet, because Kemet actually uses what you would consider the magical transmutation of your actual energy. What they're doing is it's
the dark sorcerer kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're doing it from a polluted. What's the term? It's so tainted.
Yes.
That's yeah.
And I'm not saying Coke per se is evil. It's a corporation, and it's only about money, and everywhere they go. I mean, just look what's happened in the last 3 years in Mexico, where they have taken water out of children's schools and put in Coke machines. Cheap, too.
Mm-hmm.
And it has changed those children. You can follow the obesity epidemic and see exactly when Coke took over. And then all of a sudden it's fried foods, but fried in sugar. And even frying. Up until 1950 on this planet, we had butter and we had lard. Pretty much everywhere. And then there was a change during the Second World War to emulsify fats, to make fats from vegetables, which surprisingly is more dangerous than fats from animals. And it's killing us. This is the war. This is the dark war. This is the war that if we stopped the fighting and allowed this to go, we'd still be in trouble, maybe even worse.
This is leading to us being plugged into the Matrix.
This is the plug.
This is, if you guys have seen, I can't remember, Batman. Was it Batman and Robin that had Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face and Jim Carrey as the Riddler?
Yeah, that was a good one.
Okay. Now, remember that device that they had that they were sticking on their foreheads and they were absorbing, they had on everybody's television set, and it was like sucking their energy, their essence.
That's right.
That's basically what they're doing to us. When they have dumbed us down enough, when they have fattened us up enough, when they have programmed us enough, just to keep their monster, keep their machine running, they can harness everything from you because you're a consumer at that point. You consume, and they want you to consume because they consume from you. It's a con. That's why it's called consume. It's to get you.
Consume, con, Coke. This is Cain.
They are conning you and me.
This is the guy who lives in the land of Nod.
Mm-hmm.
And he can never truly connect to the land of the living again. He visits, but he's no longer what he was when he first left. That's what Coke does. This is what a con does.
There are ways of physically separate, because these are suits. These are biosuits. We are astronauts. This is a simulation. Okay? So these are avatars, so to speak. The physical. The spiritual this is how the spiritual is allowed to grow, allowed to experience. So think about it and we're about to get nerdy again, because that's what I do best. Think about it like a video game. Excuse me. You create a character, make it however you want it to look, and then you go out into the world and you do missions, you level up, things like that. That is essentially what life is. When you think about it, every year you level up. When your mission as far as programming goes, your mission is to, from birth, get to the point where you can contribute to the corporations, these monsters that run this world. What best way can you? What's the best slave you can be? We'll give you some options, but you're still going to be a slave. Whether you're a doctor working for a hospital, or you're a mechanic working for a repair shop or whatever. You're a slave to somebody. Figure out your gift. That makes you great. We need that. We need to break that. We need to do something about that, because that's unnatural. It's unnatural to wake up and do a 9 to 5. That's not what we were doing. That's not what we were made to do. That's not what these biosuits should be doing. And they started to implement. If you actually started noticing, because before, back in the days, not too long ago, people didn't have a graveyard shift. And then they implement the graveyard shift, and it throws off your circadian rhythm. And I know this because I've done graveyard shifts. When a certain point, okay, I've got a few more minutes. I still have to. I'm gonna try and get into the whole blood thing real quick, but let me say this: when a certain point in time comes, wherever you are in the world, it's usually like around 4 to 5 in the morning. Your body starts to produce serotonin because it's reacting to the light that we get from the sun. Now at nighttime, when it starts to get dark, we start to produce melatonin. These two things work together, serotonin and melatonin, to regulate our sleep, but they also do a lot of things, because serotonin also has to do with your well-being, happiness, things like that. I don't have time to get into that right now because we only have a few more minutes, and I was trying to get into the blood thing a little bit. So, what I was talking about earlier with the blood test, they take DNA from just certain areas, certain tribes, and it doesn't give you, like, they're not drawing blood from everybody. That's why you have these people that they find here and there, like, oh, this person he's in Kentucky and he has blood that's older than everybody in this country. The way that, and let me break it down. This is why the blood tests are not accurate. They only pull from one person. You have 2 parents. They each had 2 parents. That's 4. Their parents had parents. So you keep multiplying that. You have so many bloodlines by the time, let's just get to the 16th generation. You have so many people that have come from different places, are different themselves, that how can you extrapolate that DNA, that information, to fully find out who your ancestors are? There's only so much that a DNA test can go back to. So that's why it's they give you a number. It's only like so much accurate. I can't remember the exact number, But there is a way. Okay, so there's a way that we can do this ourselves if we meditate and on our bloodlines. We can find this ourselves, and I'll get into that more on the next show. So,
Yeah.
glad to be with you guys. Welcome to boot camp, and hope to see you guys next week. It's been